Would you believe me if I told you that there is already a patent in the US for mind control technology, and has been for decades? Well, believe it, the technology has been around since the 1950s. I have evidence that it is still being researched and used covertly even today. I got lost for hours reading over patents, clinical studies, whistleblowers' testimonies.
It's not a conspiracy theory, or even science fiction. It's a tried and true technology that has been not only known about, but perfected by scientists worldwide.
The ultimate weapon in the info war would be so secret, so invisible, so undetectable, you would never know your mind was under attack. At Laurentian University in Ontario, Canada, a young student is about to undergo one of the strangest experiences of her life. They're hooking Denise's brain up to an electroencephalograph, or EEG machine, for 30 to 40 minutes. This will monitor her brainwaves. And these electric coils attached on either side of her head will immerse her brain in an electromagnetic field. Her brain actually completes the circuit between the two coils. The field pulsing through her brain is less powerful than one given off by a digital clock radio, but acutely controlled and focused at specific parts of the brain, it will open Denise's mind to outside suggestion by this man. Dr. Michael Persinger is a professor of psychology and neuroscience. He is designing ways to put the power of mind control to good use.
The cognitive processes of the human brain are really quite simple. And if you understand how they work, you can make entire populations think and decide no matter what you wish.
Many experts are skeptical of such an Orwellian scenario, but Persinger thinks the implications are chillingly real.
Suppose you generate a field that produces fear, fundamental fear, in large numbers of people. And then, over a more traditional way, you say, the reason we're having this fear is because of this particular group. And now you start to move the population believing in a direction that you wish.
To influence 250 million people, the equivalent of the entire population of the United States, may not be that difficult. According to Dr. Persinger, we already have the technology, satellites and television, and radio transmitters. Mind control.
Mind control may already be happening.
Mind control may already be happening. Mind control may already be happening.
Several patents related to mind control have been filed. One patent discloses a mind controller that can induce a user's brainwaves into different states. Another patent discusses how electromagnetic fields from monitors can manipulate the nervous system of a subject by pulsing images displayed on screens too. There are also patents involving apparatus and methods for remotely monitoring and altering a target's brainwaves and central nervous system.
US 6488617B1 was the year 2000, October 13th. Published December 3rd, 2002, Bruce F. Katz. Method and device for producing a desired brain state via magnetic waves. US 3393279. 13th of March 1962, was published in 1968. Allows information to be remotely conveyed to subject via electromagnetic waves. US 4834701, 1985. Remote neurological control via sets of low-frequency waves beamed at the brain. Another one here, we have subliminal manipulation of subjective emotions via remotely directed audio waves. Another one is apparatus and method for remotely monitoring and altering a target's brain waves. We have another one, alters mood, emotions, sleep states via remotely applied frequencies and waveforms. We have another one, presents subliminal auditory information to the human via remotely applied waves. Another one, method and apparatus for inducing desired states of consciousness. Then we have, makes voices emanate from individuals who do not intend or realize it, called the ventriloquist effect. That one I thought was pretty interesting. That's US 5889870A. And that actually came out, was published in 1999 by American Technological something or other. Okay, in 1968, another one was published that remotely causes individuals to hear voices via EMF waves, and it's imperceptible to anyone else. Okay, then we have US 8579793B1, which was November 12, 2013 is when it was published. It controls the brain state by placing engineered EMF patterns into the AC wiring of a building. US 20140309-484A1, which was published in 2014 in October, induced desired brain state in person by adding waves into a musical file. Then we have in 2003, manipulation subject brain waves via frequencies emanating from computer and TV screens. Then we have intraoral electronic tracking device that can be implanted in teeth, dentures, etc. That's US 6239705B1, and it was published in 2001. In the year 2000, we have Zebedee Research, induced desired brain state via vibrational stimuli, preferably sound. We have, in the year 2000, induces desired emotional state through remote EMFs. It says here, examples, sleepiness, sexual arousal, fear, anything like that. 1999, we have one that remotely causes the subject to feel bodily swaying. It says, for example, earthquake or rock the baby sensation.
Shortest way of expressing it, in different lectures that I give, so I make it very clear. We don't have to go into the details. In Rudolf Steiner, the Austrian mystic that was very active in the early part of the last century, the founder of Waldorf schools and biodynamic farming and a completely new kind of alternative medicine. He predicted, that towards the end of last century and the beginning of this century, there will be a movement driven by big corporations to take the soul away from people, to disconnect people from the higher world. And in order to do that, we have to destroy the pineal gland in people. And I followed the research on that, and amazingly what we found, the pineal gland is the most sensitive part of our central nervous system and is highly, highly, highly sensitive to 4 things: aluminum, glyphosate, fluoride, and Wi-Fi. And we are the only country in the world that has pushed these 4 things in the last 60 years or so on everybody growing up here. And so what I feel, what I observe, and what we're also testing on our ART system is that people have severely calcified pineal glands. And I show the anatomy in some of my courses. It's very clear that the pineal gland is a receiver for higher fields of energy and translates them into thought and into actually controlling our immune system, our endocrine system, and so on and so forth. There's all science, but very few people pay attention to science anymore, especially since Donald Trump and his disregard for science. It's become the new norm, and so it is astounding that the telecommunications industry has selected the frequencies out of the huge spectrum of frequencies that are absolutely destructive to our cells and especially to the pineal gland. They couldn't have made any better choices than 2.4 gigahertz. That the end point, that when you have inhale aluminum, as we do from the geoengineering program, and have glyphosate in the food chain, that glyphosate and aluminum combine in the blood and in the gut and in the bloodstream to form 6 different chemical compounds where aluminum and glyphosate are hooked up together, and the end point of that compound is the pineal gland. It's published, it's not my idea. And what is needed for this compound to actually enter the brain is to open up the blood-brain barrier. And the current frequencies in the Wi-Fi world are exactly doing that. They open the blood-brain barrier, so toxins that used to stay in the bloodstream and in the body below the neck are now entering the brain very freely. That applies to all toxins. And so it's a new time in that way. When you think this through, you come to the conclusion that either there must have been an ultra intelligence group of scientists who have designed this protocol to fluoridate the drinking water, to put nanonized aluminum in the air, to put glyphosate in the food, and then activate it, spark it with the right frequencies. It took me 20 years to figure out the perfect storm that is created there. And it's either a coincidence, which is possible, that enough dumb people made the wrong choices, along the years. I'm still hoping that may be at least partially true. Or it's orchestrated by a very, very intelligent group of destructive minds. Or what I also believe is very possible, that there's some higher fields of consciousness that can be both tuned into the light and to life affirmative action and can be absolutely destructive, like phenomena like Adolf Hitler and others, people that come under the influence of something absolutely dark and destructive. And I do believe it's very possible that enough scientists and politicians have come under that influence of those higher fields and are acting according to it, actually not knowing on a human level why they're doing what they're doing and what they're doing. A good example is 5G. To put it on posts, along the streets. Okay, that's one issue, but putting it on satellite and actually the government approving to put it on satellite, blasting the whole planet with a frequency that has never been checked for safety, for its influence on the insects, on the songbirds, has never been checked for anything, and to approve that is unconceivable to like somebody who's still got a little bit of a brain left. And that politicians in the White House and other countries are conspiring with that can only be explained that their brains have come under the influence of some larger, higher field that cannot be human in nature, because the human nature is always life affirmative and loving and